Hello, guys. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Wahala Day, where we debate some of the most trending topics, some of the hottest debates, the most controversial topics in Nigerian football. And as you must have seen from the title of this stream, we are going to be talking about football agents and whether or not they are destroying Nigeria's youth football. Football agents, are they destroying Nigeria's youth football? This is something that a lot of people have spoken about. A lot of people have come um, to the public to talk about football agents and how the way that we are currently running our age grade football in Nigeria is not beneficial for development of talent. So let's get into that today. If you are not tuned in on YouTube, please make sure you switch over to our YouTube channel so that you can enjoy the full uninterrupted show, so that I can also see your comments and I can engage with you, as I will not be able to see comments on other platforms not named YouTube. And also, after about 10 minutes, the stream is going to be ending on all other social media platforms. So please, if you're not on YouTube, make sure you join us on YouTube so that you don't miss out on the conversation. And if you would like to join the debates today, if you would like to call in and share your thoughts, of course, you would have an opportunity to do so. So please just make sure you're ready. Make sure you have a camera. We can hear you. We can see you. Make sure you're in a good location. You look decent. And we would like to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what everybody has to say on this topic. Of course, I have my opinions, but there's two sides to every debate. Some people will be for, some people will be against, and it would be nice to hear all perspectives. And hopefully, we can learn one or two things about the way things are done in Nigerian football. And of course, maybe who knows, we might be able to come to a resolution, or we might be able to come to an answer. We're not only going to be discussing the problems, but maybe we'll also talk about some potential solutions and how we can solve the problem. Of course, this conversation, this debate comes on the back of the Nigeria under 20, the Flying Eagles finishing third at the under 20 AFCON 2025, and of course qualifying for the under 20 World Cup. But a lot of people feel like there were no high quality players in the team, or maybe one or two players that actually showed potential of developing into top talents in the future. We want to get into all of that today. So grab your bottle of water, grab your cup of coffee, whatever you like to drink while you listen to football conversations. And we are going to be in for a nice ride today. If you are watching us on YouTube, where you should be, please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you hit the like button. It helps other people to know that we're live. It helps to send a signal to YouTube that we're creating good content, and it just helps to support the channel as well as the content that we create. So please, please, please hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube, so that we can get this show on the road. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe so that you always know when we are live, and you always know when we drop our other extremely exciting and largely educational content as well. Like our ET ranks, Niger FC podcast, the home of Nigerian football podcast, exclusive interviews, games, debates, and so much more. So thank you guys. Please, please, please make sure you join us on YouTube, and we will get this show on the road in a minute. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. I can see some people are already leaving particular opinions in the comments. We'll get into all of that conversation in a little bit. Um, Let me just once again say welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much, everyone that has tuned in. Um, Welcome to the world of Nigerian youth football. You know, a place where dreams are born, but also where dreams can be shattered. Are football agents the key to discovering the next Victor Osimhen, or are they currently holding back some of Nigeria's brightest talents? My name is Ayotsi, and you're watching Eagles Tracker, the home of Nigerian football. And today we'll be diving deep into a topic that has been sparking heated debates across Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria. Are football agents ruining age grade football and slowing down the discovery of top talents? Or are they a catalyst for promotion and visibility and helping dreams be made? This is a story of dreams, corruption, and a fight for the future of Nigerian football. So stick around, and I hope that you enjoy this interesting debates that we're going to have today. Now, Nigeria has a rich history of producing world class football talents. From the JJ Okochas to the Victor Osimhen's, many of our brightest and biggest stars started playing their football at the age grade level. Those crucial youth systems where raw talent is nurtured into greatness. Age grade football, though, we have to be very aware. It's not just about winning, but it's largely and should honestly be mostly about developing players into future stars. It is about building the future of Nigerian football, building the future of the Super Eagles, building the future of these players, and overall putting Nigerian football on the global stage in a positive light. But here's the problem: many people believe that in recent years, there's been a growing shadow over Nigerian youth football, which, of course, are the football agents. Football agents are these powerful figures who promise fame, fortune, and life changing prospects to young, susceptible Nigerian football players. And while football agents are a key figure and are key figures and very important figures in the whole of global football, many of them are not necessarily positive. Many of them are not necessarily good people. And a lot of people are now accusing them of ruining the system. From age sitting to exploitation to bribery, some people say that football agents are holding back the discovery of Nigeria's next big stars. So, why are football agents getting so much heat, getting so much backlash? Why are they being attacked by many people? Let me break it down. Yeah. First, there's the issue of age falsification. Agents often pressure players to lie about their ages to qualify for youth tournaments because these youth tournaments are seen as a way for players to get much needed visibility, much needed exposure to be able to make these transfers and these life changing moves out of Nigeria into Europe and the rest of the world. And also, we have to acknowledge the fact that when older players are able to go and play in these youth tournaments, they have a higher tendency to dominate, and genuine young talents get pushed aside, which just leads us to a cycle. If I'm 21 and I say I'm 17, I push the real 17-year-olds back. Then in a couple years, that 17-year-old is now 21, lies that he's still 17. He pushes the next person back. It's just a revolving door. It's non-stop. It keeps happening. Nothing changes in the system. So this is something that a lot of people are not quite happy about. Now, there's the exploitation part. Some agents charge players crazy fees. I've heard from so many different kinds of young Nigerian players about fees that agents have asked them to pay in order to process documents for them with the promise of taking them to certain clubs and so on and so forth. These fees are not genuine most of the time. Even if the fees are genuine fees that need to be paid, most of the time these fees should not be paid by the players. And that system of exploitation continues in our system. Desperation is preyed upon by many, many, many football agents. And this is something that is not good for our football. Agents exploit players by promising them big moves to Europe that never happen, big moves to Europe that never even exist. And of course, this leaves players heartbroken. This leaves families broke, and let's not even get into the whole corruption issue right now. Between the agents and the coaches and the organizers of these national teams, we know that there's a lot of corruption. We cannot accuse anybody directly because we don't want to get sued and we don't have the hard proof. Some people have been caught on camera in the past. Um, but there are numerous stories of coaches asking agents to pay bribes to pick players for the national teams. And the whole thing is a mess. We've seen several times where certain players have been invited to the national teams, and we're like, how? From where? How is this person in the national team? So we know that this corruption exists, and of course, it cannot be good for our Nigerian football. But hold on, let us not paint all agents as the bad guys, at least not yet. There's another side to the story. Not all agents are bad people. In fact, I'll go as far as saying majority of football agents are good people. But remember, not all people that claim to be agents are actually licensed agents. A lot of people just claim to be agents but don't have the licensing, don't have the network, don't have the resources to be able to actually make any impact for these young players. There's another side to the story. Many agents are actually helping Nigerian talents to be seen and to shine. They connect these young players with international clubs. They take them to international tournaments for exposure. They give them access to better training facilities. They even provide financial support to these players and their families who can't afford to keep their players in academies, who can't afford to eat, who can't afford to send their players to training. They spot real talent and they help to nurture that talent to be able to get the opportunity. I know some agents that have helped players for 5 years, you know, hoping and believing that one day this player is going to be able to make it. I mean, let's think about it. Without agents, would players like Ehenacho or Ndidi and so on and so forth have been seen? Maybe not. So are agents really the problem in the system? Or are the agents just an easy scapegoat for a system that is broken and maybe has been broken for a long time? I think we're at a crossroads where the stakes could not be higher. Age grade football for a long time has been the foundation of Nigeria's football. And you can say might be the foundation for Nigeria's football future unless we decide that we just want to rely on foreign born or foreign trained talent. And if we do not get this right, if we not turn things around and go in the right direction, then we risk losing another generation of talent. So today, I want us to break all of this down. I want us to look at the good, to look at the bad, to look at the ugly, and hopefully at the end of the conversation, at the end of the debate, we'll be able to have a clearer picture of what is really going on in Nigeria's youth systems. And hopefully, we'll be able to prefer some solutions that can be catalyst for change and moving us in the right direction of continuing to see, discover, nurture, and produce world class talents. So I hope you guys are ready to dive into this. And I hope you guys are ready to join in today's debate. Once again, I ask, if you are not watching on YouTube, please make sure you switch to YouTube so that you can enjoy the full conversation. Please, please, please join us on YouTube so that you can enjoy the full conversation. So, with regards to this topic, I have I have some reasons supporting the arguments that agents are ruining football, and I also have some reasons against the arguments that agents are ruining youth football in Nigeria. You guys know, if you watch me, you know that I like to play devil's advocate sometimes. I like to see things from both or all perspectives, to hear people out and understand where people might be coming from. So let's look at some of the reasons why agents could be said to be ruining age grade football and slowing down talent discovery in Nigeria. The first one is something that I already hinted at in my opening, what I call it, monologue: age falsification encouragement. Agents often pressure players or their families to falsify their ages to be able to meet eligibility criteria for youth tournaments. This leads to older players playing at these tournaments and genuine younger players getting sidelined. We know that Nigeria used to dominate youth football at a global level for a long time. But since new systems were put in place to catch age cheats, and obviously we're kind of forced into a situation whereby, we have to play genuine youngsters for the most part, um, we've seen that our success at that global level has reduced. Now, am I saying that everyone who played under 17 and won the World Cup etc for Nigeria was cheating? No. But without naming names, without castigating anybody, we know of some obvious cases of players that were representing Nigeria at youth level that were not genuinely, supposed to qualify to play in that age group. Not just judging based on looks, because I say sometimes people like to judge players based on looks alone, and we know that the situation in Nigeria, your looks can be influenced by your environment and the situation of your life, of your family, how you grew up. So I'm not even judging based on looks, but we know that this has happened in the past. This is something that a lot of agents encourage. For example, if I were a football agent and I went to Surulere and I came across a player that I thought was very good, and I said, "Oh, hey, Ayoti, I like you. You're a good player. I'm a football agent. I can take you to Europe, blah, blah, blah. How old are you?" If Ayoti says, "Oh, agent, I'm 20 years old," automatically I realize that it becomes a harder sell. How am I going to get this 20-year-old to play in Europe? He's never played professionally. Maybe he doesn't play for any recognized academy. Initially, I realized that I need to ask this boy to not be 20 years old. I need to ask him to be 14 or 15. And a lot of agents encourage this. I have spoken to several agents. I have spoken to several grassroots players that have told me that, bro, I am 19. This agent is telling me to say that I am 14, that I am 15, but I do not want to change my age. What can I do about it? And it is a very tough thing, because I understand why some of these agents might feel like it is necessary in terms of, being able to take the player abroad, in terms of being able to sell the player. But at the same time, in the long run, this does not benefit us, because many players, if they do change their ages, if they do go abroad, by the time that they get to these clubs abroad, they are already so far back in their development, where they are supposed to be at 18, they are not even there yet at 25 or at 23. And then it just becomes something that chases them for their entire careers. Now, another point as to why agents might not necessarily be good overall is profit driven motives. At the end of the day, football is a business. Everybody that is in football wants to make money for themselves, wants to make money for their clients. Football is a money thing. Even the clubs want to make money, FIFA wants to make money. Football is about money. As much as it is about entertainment and changing lives, it is about money. Many agents prioritize financial gain over player development. They push players into premature contracts. They push players into overseas moves that may not suit the long term growth, disrupting proper development for these players. We've seen instances, even maybe after a player has played for the under 17s or for the under 20, and then they sign for a club, and everybody is scratching their head saying, huh? Why did he go to this country? Why did he join this club? How is this going to help his development? A lot of the time, it is due to pressure from the agents. I once spoke to a player who played for Nigeria at an under 20 World Cup. And after playing at the under 20 World Cup, he made a move to Israel. And I asked him, I said, why did you go to Israel? You know, there are other countries that are better known for development of young talents that could have probably served you better to bring you up. Why did you go to Israel? And he said, bro, I had offers from Belgium. I had offers from Denmark, but the club in Israel offered me the most money, and my agent told me to take it. As a young player, as a naive player, as a player being faced with your first ever contract of probably any kind, it is very easy for the player to just listen to what the agent says. That is why having the right team, having the right agent around the player is very, very important, because young players are very, very, very easily manipulated if they don't have strong personalities, or if they don't understand what it means to build a career out and not just jump at the first thing that comes towards them. So these profit driven motives don't always help players. Some people always talk about, oh, why do we have players going to Iraq? Why do we have players going to Sudan, to Libya, to Bangladesh? All these things. A lot of the time is driven by money. I cannot blame certain older players for making moves when they get the chance, to go make money. But when you see a 17, 18, 19-year-old boy making his first move and he's going to Dubai, or he's going to the UAE, or he's going to Iraq, you wonder if there are better options for him out there to actually develop as a player, to actually grow, and to actually make it in football. Now, everyone plays the sport for different reasons. Some people play the sport to be the greatest of all time, to be as good as they possibly can. Some people purely play the sport for financial reasons. Some people do it for both. I think you have to find a healthy balance of both, in my own opinion. You have to have the passion and the desire to be the best that you can, but you also have to make money. It's a job at the end of the day, a very well paying job. So, yeah, you have to make your money as well. But once again, at that young age, I don't think that you should just jump at the first money, because even while that money at that time can look very nice and very pretty, at the risk of your development, you are potentially even leaving a lot of future earnings on the table. Because by the time you go to this country, in another 3, 4 years, nobody rates you, nobody talks about you. You're kind of stuck in that country system. You could have made millions elsewhere. You never know. I know that nothing is guaranteed, but a lot of Nigerian players, I always say this, they don't know what they've missed out on or what they are missing out on because they never had it yet. People need to start having a little bit more foresight to be able to see beyond what is right in front of them and be able to see beyond the now. Another thing that is slightly or somewhat a negative when it comes to agents is manipulation of trials and showcases. So if you live in the Nigerian football ecosystem, every so often you see posters, you see announcements of football showcases. Oh, this agent is coming from Germany, this agent is coming from Sweden, or this scout rather is coming from Sweden, coming from England. Oh, this scout for this club is coming to watch a showcase. And then agents, whatever, alongside some certain teams in the country, alongside certain coaches, they put together a mini tournament of 5, 6 teams, let them play against each other. The agent is going to pick, or the scout is going to pick the best player that he likes, things like that. But what is not very well known by a lot of these players is that a lot of the agents already, they control the access, and they control the talent showcases. They have certain players that they want to be seen. So they prime those players and put those players in the best scenarios possible to be seen. A lot of these showcases are not designed with fairness in mind, are not designed for everybody to come and have a fair opportunity to be discovered. A lot of the time, they know who they want these scouts to see and who to pick. And then the rest of these players are essentially there to make those people look good. And for the rest of these players, they are coming with the belief that, well, if I put my best foot forward, if I do my best, maybe I can be seen, maybe I can be discovered. But they don't know that the cards are already not in their favor. This is something that I don't even know if I would say is a bad thing per se, because I understand that the agents work for certain players and have certain clients, and of course, their priority is to help that player to get a move. But I think there should be more transparency and letting other people, other players that are coming to be part of the showcase to know that, hey, you're not really the focus of this showcase. There's certain players that are being prioritized that we want people to see, that we are trying to get moves for, and you are just here to play a part. And maybe by the right bounce of the ball, you just absolutely balling out, you might be seen and you might get an opportunity. But players A, B, C, D, E are the ones that we are really trying to showcase. They are the ones that we've already told the scouts that, hey, watch out for this boy in number 15 jersey. Watch out for this left-footed boy in number 3. We've told them, and those are people that the scouts are really coming to get their eyes on. Also, a lot of these showcases yield nothing. Not necessarily because there's no good player to be seen, but because based on conversations that the person might have had with the scout, maybe the scouts of the club that the person is scouting for doesn't have capacity to sign an international player. But these agents will still do these showcases just to create that illusion of they have the pool, they have the relevance, they have the resources, they have the network to attract more young talents to come towards them. Okay, let me just pause for a second. If you're not on YouTube, please switch over to YouTube now. The stream is going to end on other social media platforms in 30 seconds. Thank you very much. Okay, back to it. Another thing that I kind of spoke about earlier is, that profit driven mentality, but, focusing on short term gains, focusing on how much money can we make now rather than building a proper plan for a player. The players that have the right agents, the agent will tell them, no, this club is too big for you right now. For your development, is not going to be good. You're not going to get to play. They are going to send you on 5, 6 different loans. It's not going to be good for your development. So maybe go to a lower level, start there. And then after some time, you'll be able to go to a team like this as long as you do well, as long as things are going well for you. But then there's also agents that don't give a damn about that. If this club is ready to pay you, you know, 500,000 right now, collect your 500K, and whatever happens in the future happens. A lot of agents don't really create plans for their players, long-term plans, 5-year plans. And I know that every agent's contract with a player is a maximum of 2 years. So maybe an agent might be thinking that, oh, why am I creating a plan for 5 years for this boy if he can just let me go in 2 years' time? But at the end of the day, I strongly believe that if you are able to do your job, you're able to do your job well, and you have the best interest of the player at heart. For the most part, you won't lose your client. I know that not everybody is loyal like that, and some players are easily persuaded by somebody else. I can take you to Man City. Oh yeah, I'm signing with you. I'm leaving my agent. But for the most part, if an agent does their job well, has the right plan for the player, explains to the player properly, most of the time they wouldn't lose their clients. And most of the time, the player would actually appreciate them more because they know that the person is working in their best interest and not just about making some money and getting whatever commission they are supposed to get. Let them develop properly. Don't push them beyond where they're supposed to be. Let's get into corruption and bribery. It's not a secret in Nigerian football that some agents engage in practices like bribing coaches. The reason why the coaches are able to bribe is because they are agents that will pay and that do pay. Now, do we blame the agents? Do we blame the coaches? Do we blame the system? I'm not sure how to answer that question. But the reason why this happens is because many of these coaches maybe are not getting paid what they're supposed to pay, what they're supposed to be paid. Some of them are not even on agreed contracts and are just serving as quote unquote volunteers for the national teams. So they know that if they say bring $5,000 for your player to be in the national team, if the agent is desperate for their player to get that visibility and they don't believe that their player will find it some other way, the agent might get the money. To make matters worse, sometimes these agents will put getting the money, the financial burden on the player. Now the player goes to their family is selling land, selling things that they have, selling assets to try to raise that money to get them into the national team. I've heard from more than two agents that manage some foreign born Nigerian players that have tried to represent Nigeria at the youth level, and they were told to pay about $5,000 per player. And it was like, pay $5,000, your player will be in the national team. That is not the way it's supposed to be. If those foreign born players are not good enough, they should not be in the national team. If they are good enough, they should be in the national team without having to pay. This is bad. We cannot be allowing people to use our national team as a money making machine. This is the reason why a lot of coaches, a lot of people are very, very, very comfortable just being in that under 17, on that under 20 bracket for a long time. Because, you know, they know that the money will keep coming. The money will keep coming. Merit based identification is something that seemingly has died in Nigeria. We don't have any proper scouting programs. We don't have any proper identification programs. We don't have a way to know who the genuine best talents are. Now, football is always a subjective game. Somebody might see you and say you are the best player since David Beckham. Another person might see you say you are the best player since Messi. Another person might see you and say they don't even like you. You're not even that good. Football has always been a subjective game. But there should be a meritocracy. There should be a way of actually identifying the best talents and giving the best talents the best opportunity to be seen and to shine. Will players always come and go? For sure, for sure. But we should not be having players just come out of thin air and making it into the national teams. We could not be having players who are largely seen and known to be some of the top talents not making it into the national team. And we should not be seeing players in the national team that everyone can point at and say this player is very subpar. And also, agents should realize that if, which I don't encourage, but if they even want to, they want to, be part of these practices, this bribery and corruption, they should not put the player in financial jeopardy. If you feel like it's the only way you can push your player, then you should bear the burden of paying the money. Now, somebody is asking, do agents just sometimes push players to anything where they can make quick money because they think the player is not a good prospect? It is possible. It is very possible. But if that's the case, I think that's where transparency has to come into play.
Explain to the player the situation on ground. Explain to the player the way people are assessing them. Explain to the player the way you see things, the way you see their trajectory, the way you see their future. Explain to them, let them understand. And that kind of takes me to my next point about overhyping average players. If a player is genuinely average and you just feel like this player doesn't have the potential to make it to the top, then let the player know. Let the player know. Don't lie to the player and make the player believe. And then now that's why this boy is 25, still trying to play under 17 because somebody has told him that he's such a fantastic talent and that he can be the next Lionel Messi or he can be the next JJ or the next Kanu. Don't lie to these players. If you don't believe that a player can make it to the top, then be factual with them. You are a good player. People don't rate you as high as we would like you to be. These are the places where we think you can do well. You can go there, you can make this money. We can also maybe send you to Belgium, but if you don't develop quite well, you might not necessarily make it out of it. Like, just give. For me, I'm the kind of person that when I'm presented with an opportunity, I like to know all the facts, all the details, and let me decide whether or not this opportunity is good for me. Let the player's family know everything that is on ground, and let them decide whether or not they feel like it's the best option for the child. Not everybody is going to be Victor Osimhen. That's the reality. If not everybody is going to be Tolu Arokodare, and Arokodare and Osimhen, there's a big gap. Taking it even further down, not everybody is going to be Yusuf Otubanjo in Armenia. Not everybody is going to be Ibrahim Sunusi in CF Montreal. Not everybody is going to be Sikiru Alimi in the MPFL. But you have to be realistic. You have to be honest with these players. Let them know exactly where they stand. Let them know exactly what the situation is. And then they can make a very informed decision. Because not telling them the truth is part of the reasons why this cycle of age cheating will continue. Because a player still believes that, no, I'm that good. You will hear about how, oh, he believes that he's better than Messi in an opportunity he never see. I saw one time somebody was insulting a Nigerian player on my page, and I went to the person's page and I saw that the person too is an aspiring football player. And I'm just like, you never make him, you dey insult this guy, we don't make him times 20 pass you. And the guy is like, oh, I'm better than him, I can do better than him. It's just because I've not got the opportunity yet. Everybody believes, oh, I've not got the opportunity yet. And a lot of people are fooling themselves believing and saying that. It's not because you have not got the opportunity, it's because you're not that good and you might never be that good. That's the reality. Sometimes the truth is not always nice to hear, but the reality of it is that you might never be that good. Maybe you're not supposed to be a pro footballer. Maybe you're supposed to be a coach. Maybe you're supposed to be a referee. Maybe you're supposed to be a linesman. Maybe you're supposed to be an assistant coach. Maybe you're supposed to be a scout, talent identification. Maybe you're supposed to your knowledge of football is supposed to go towards administration. I know a young boy. In fact, at this point, I don't even know how young the boy is. I know a boy who keeps on coming to me to ask for money. He keeps on coming to me saying he's broke, he needs money. He's broke, he needs money. More than once, I've offered this boy a job. He doesn't want a job. Oh. He doesn't want a job. He just wants money because he believes that the only job that he can accept is a football job. This boy has been asking me for money for 5 years. I don't know how old he is now, but he has to be well into his 20s, maybe 24. He still believes that the only job that he can work is football as a football player. I don't even know if this is just that self delusion or if it's the result of one agent in the past telling him that he's one so good. I don't even know what it is. But I think that the more honest we can be with certain players, the less likely things like this happen. The more we have proper systems of identification of players, the less we can see things like this happening. People can apply themselves in different ways. People get stay off the streets, people don't get into illegal practices. Many grassroots players are doing different things like fraud, etc, because they have to get by, as they have not yet been able to have successful careers in football. Okay, let's talk about some reasons why you might say that football agents are not ruining age grade football in Nigeria, and they are not slowing talent discovery in Nigeria. One thing that we cannot take away from agents is that they help facilitate global exposure. Whether we like it or not, agents do connect young Nigerian talents to international clubs and to academies, providing them with opportunities that sometimes the local system cannot um, provide them. And they help to accelerate talent discovery. With the right connection of academy agents, talents like Victor Boniface have been seen. Talents like Paulo Onuachu have been able to go abroad. Frank Onyekas, the Rafael Onyedikas, the Igor Ogbus, the Chidera Ejukes, recently the Kparobo Areri. We have players and we have Valladolid's youth systems. Agents do help, you know. Um, I always say that we need to look at it as who is a genuine agent versus who is just claiming to be an agent. So we cannot just knock, knock, knock and say agents are bad. Agents play a very important role, even in the lives of already established players. So agents do help. Something else that agents are very, very good for is professional guidance. Good agents will offer players the right career advice, the right contract negotiation, the right financial planning, help them to navigate the complex football industry and to focus on their development. When a player has the right agents, they carve a path out for the player, step by step by step by step, what they need to do, how they are going to grow, how they are going to be successful in this world of football, this crazy, crazy world of football. A lot of agents as well invest in talent identification and talent scouting. Some agents spend out of their own personal funds to host tournaments, to host scouting programs, to send players to tournaments, to send players to programs. They give their players the best opportunities to be seen. And it's not very easy on the agents. A lot of agents invest a ton of money in trying to help players to be successful, in trying to help players to build their careers. So we cannot just say agents are bad, bad, bad without looking at the positive side as well. Motivation for young players. The prospect of players being seen or being discovered or being signed by an agent is something that drives many, many young players to work harder, to showcase their skills, because they know that if this agent sees me, if an agent picks interest in me, maybe my life might change. Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying about overhyping average players. The agent still has a duty, in my opinion, to be honest and realistic with the player, but it can be a motivational factor for the player to work harder and to spend more time on themselves and to train and to try to do better, because what if I get spotted? What if I actually get spotted? Agents, a good agent is also a big advocate for a player's rights. If you have a good agent, the agent will protect you from exploitative clubs or from exploitative coaches, clubs that want to take advantage of you, coaches that want to take advantage of you. There have been players that have been mistreated by their clubs, and their agents are the ones that save them from that situation. Their agents have come to the player's rescue essentially when things have gone bad. And some agents still play this role in the life of or in the lives of young players in Nigeria. So it's not all bad. Some agents fight for more inclusion of merit-based players at the youth national team levels. As there are those that are willing to pay money to get their players into the national teams, there are those that will also refuse to pay any amount of money and will demand that things are done based on a meritocracy. So it goes both ways. Economic support for the player, for the players' families. Agents often, very, very often, provide financial assistance to the families of talented young players. If you see somebody that is a bright talent and you think that even as an agent you can make money from this person in the future, you want the person to keep trying, you want the person to keep playing, you want the person to keep developing. Sometimes money is a big factor, or a lot of the time money is a big factor, and the only way that you can ensure that this happens is if you take care of the player. If somebody cannot eat, how are they going to train? If somebody cannot afford boots, how are they going to play in matches? If somebody cannot afford transport, how are they going to get to the trainings, to the games, things like that? So this is a big role that a lot of agents play in Nigerian football, helping their families to be fairly comfortable so that they don't have that pressure of looking after their kid, and maybe they say, oh, the kid has to go and do a menial job because they need the money, and instead of the player going to train, they are going to work, sell something at the market, or they are going to go and learn mechanic, things like that. And then I'll say finally, agents help to create connections between Nigerian football and the global market, increasing the visibility for age grade players and ensuring that more talents are discovered by top clubs. As much as some agents push players in the wrong direction, push players to clubs that they should not be pushed to, there are some agents as well who push players in the right directions. There are agents who have these connections to these top clubs in different regions of the world. You know, we know some of the popular agents in Nigeria. I'm not going to mention anybody's name to give. I'm not giving promo to anybody, but we know some of these agents who have large networks and help these players to reach these top clubs and help these players to be seen properly and actually help to guide this players' career. We see players starting from Norway and then moving on to mainstream Europe and then moving on to the top of football. We see players starting from Belgium and then moving on and on like that. So there's the positive sides to it. The role of agents in the Nigerian age grade football is a double edged sword. There are many unethical practices like the age cheating, like exploitation that harm the system. But legitimate and responsible agents can significantly boost talent discovery, boost player development, and aid in the changing of lives of many young Nigerian football players. I think that the NFF and the local academies, they also share the responsibility for addressing many of these systemic issues like the corruption and the poor infrastructure that make the impact of bad agents to be felt even more. If the NFF did more to curb these activities, things will not be as bad as they seem to be right now. And of course, the coaches, they need to be more honest when selecting players for national teams, when inviting players to tournaments. They need to be more honest. Call those that are deserving of the opportunities and not those that you like per se, because maybe one agent told you to sign the guy, or one agent promised you that when they sell him, you'll get 10%, or because somebody paid you a bribe. That's my whole spiel. There's pros, there's cons, but ultimately, we have a lot of work to do if we are supposed to get Nigerian football to go back to the level that we used to be. And if we're supposed to continue to identify and develop bright young talents, the likes of Victor Osimhen, the likes of Samuel Chukwueze, Kelechi Iheanacho, Taiwo Awoniyi, and so on and so forth that we've seen in the past. Now, to contribute towards this, I want to bring on my friend, well, vast when it comes to Nigerian football topics, and I know that he is a very, very big advocate when it comes to age grade and grassroots football in Nigeria. Smilai, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Different location. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So,
Yeah.
Smilai, I've been talking for a long time. We've
Yeah.
looked at the pros,
Mm-hmm.
we've looked at the cons
Funds. Yes.
when it comes to the role of agents in
Yeah.
Nigerian football. So,
Yeah.
let me now ask you, where do you stand in this argument? Do you think that agents are ruining age grade football in Nigeria, or do you think that agents are ultimately playing a positive role in age grade football?
For me, you have praised them, and you have actually what I like that, trying to pick the positive side. But if we should say the truth, if you see a snake
Hmm.
and you see some agents, you need to leave the snake and chase those agents. I can tell you. I know this is business. That agents too. They have to look after their pocket. They must be able to do things that can favor them too. But if you look at everything, the most problems that these guys get, they actually want through their agents. For example, now you realize that agents will ask them to, they have connections in immigration. They ask them to have different passport and everything. They take young kids to areas of unknown area. You hear about agents, molesting player. Maybe you heard about that a boy that was showing some like wounds around him, that it was agent that molested him. You see some aliens that they think they are mini god.
Hmm.
So part of the problem that we have currently in our age grade football is actually what agents. Most of them, they are half baked. They don't really even know talent, but they try to push their own agenda, push their player into the age grade. But you know this thing, money is the name of the game. If you have deep pockets, it's very hard for them to resist you. So for me, the role for agents, I think it has been like, especially for our local agent, I think it's more negative than positive, in my own opinion. With due respect to some players like, or agents like Emeka Obasi, players there, agents like Anik, agents like I don't know, maybe those big agents, able to like take players from domestic football and plan the player properly, in global football, and have been doing well. So, but all these agents that doesn't have certificates, for me, I think they are causing more harm to our local football than actually what being good.
Hmm.
Yes.
So when you say these agents that don't have certificates, I
Mm-hmm.
guess for the purpose of like this kind of debates now,
Mm-hmm.
should we be counting those people into the pool of agents? Because technically, if you are not licensed, you are not really an agent. The best we can call you is maybe you are an intermediary. You are
Mm-hmm.
a link between an agent and a player,
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Should we include those people and say they are part of why agents are bad? Or should we look at them differently and say, well, those are fake agents? Even though I know some of them legitimately work with the real agents.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it's fair to put them all together in the same basket?
They are part of the ecosystem. They are part of the chain. So there's no way you can ignore them. It's okay. It's just as if you see politicians and talk. Even when you see politicians, you see talk around them. When you say it's just like seeing that a good striker without workers. How come? You cannot say that you are the only one doing it. Some people are there around you. So, but the only issue basically is that anything that happens is IoT. Be the CEO, they see. So those agent license there, they have intermediary, they have small, small scouts everywhere. They are the one calling themselves big agents, to all those domestic and local players,
Mm.
going to their parents, harassing their parents, forcing their parents to sign parental consent, so many things. So for me, I think that they cannot be doing this without the consent of maybe their boss somewhere. So if you want to judge it, you have to link them together. That these guys are also part of it. Because, for example, now, his bad parent will give out to a bad child. That is it. If you are bad as the head of the organization, your staff will be bad too. So people that are working with you with the same thing. But when they know that you have integrity, they will not go and steal a player. For example, I know one agent, they brought a player to him. Licensed agent say, okay, he knows already. Where you not go steal this player come?
Mm.
Now one guy for just get him because he knows that the people that works for him, they know that say they don't steal him. So that means say the man knows say they steal him. Why did the man not reject say they no go, go help the boy? Yes, is it. So the issue is that I just think that this is like I see like a cut group. I see like a cabal. So for me, they cause more harm to our football than good. Honestly, they
Hmm,
cause more harm to our football than good.
hmm, okay. Smith,
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, but let me just introduce Mr. Adedotun into the conversation. Good
Mm.
evening, Mr. Adedotun.
Good evening, Oti. Good evening, Smilai.
Good evening.
I You have brought about a very delicate topic.
Mm,
You know, I would say I also know much about it because I used to be involved in grassroots football. You know, and I'll still put the blame at the doorstep of our football administrators. When I say NFF, back in the days, if you are not up to 16, you are not over 16, you cannot leave Nigeria, go and play a pro. But a typical Nigerian, who we are now. Any business that brings up money, whether the business is good or not, eh, we can do anything, we can kill for that business. We didn't have too much agents in our football, but not until, let me say, like 10, 15 years ago, that everyone's now an agent, you know. And we have the mindset that when we see any white man, you know, we want to like, oh, an agent is coming from Europe. Even the person might be coming from Armenia. I once got into it from somebody that came from Armenia, and if I like I once got in with him, bro. What's Armenia to Nigeria? Armenia is poorer than Nigeria, very far, far poorer than Nigeria. Because you're a white man, should people be kissing your ass? No, got into it, and like you said, we have good agents, we have bad agents. I always take Yomi for instance. When Yomi 2, 3 players to Greece, Aila and two other players, they offered them contract in Division 3. Yomi said no. Aila is still good for Division 3. He brought him back, took him back to Nigeria. Aila said play for you, but back. And then within a short time, after about 4 months, he called me and said, oh, Kasim is going to Ukraine. I went straight to Dynamo Kiev. You know, if some agents would have pushed Aila to also sign for Division 3 club, so that to get money. And mind you, some agents too, they started well, just well, but when they got name and when they had a lot of players, Zion misbehaving. And then why we have to blame our football industry is that when we should put our football where it's supposed to be. I'm telling you, the last player that made a significant move to Europe, I mean from our local league to first team European team, was Joseph Akpala, when he moved from Insurance to Charleroi. Benga moved from Shooting Stars to Barcelona first team. Taita moved from Lobby to Marseille first team. See, I remember we used to have many competitions back then. Used to have many competitions back then that even agent. I remember that even this former journalist Chris Eseka used to be an agent. He was saying that down my street. Chris Eseka will go to any competition anywhere. He will go to any competition anywhere. Just look for good players. I will go straight to either the coach of that youth team. I'm not gonna lie to you. When Yomi spotted saw Ayala play at Unova, he came to our youth club, Glory Babes. Yomi later came. I'm not gonna lie to you. He gave us some money, but not because I'm not someone that puts eyes on money. He gave us some money, even though they are paid a Union Bank. He just gave us some money that because Union Bank, we don't collect anything from Union Bank. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to blame agents and we have to praise agents. But now we have more corrupt agents than the good ones. It's not left,
We continue,
yes,
continue. Yeah, what's on there?
yeah, it's not left for the good ones, you know, to try away as much as possible to remove the bad ones from them, which I think is not possible because the complexity of our society. In
Mm.
my own case, I can say that this uh, quack football agents have caused more more danger to our football. Now look at this guy 2007 under 17. We have players that we thought I could say Rabbi Ibrahim, Gabriel Shola, Yakubu Alpha. We thought these guys. The only person that was able to make a little impact was the captain, Aruna Lukman. These are guys that they will go and join youth team of a good team. The next you see, they move to Vietnam.
Sorry,
Took example.
I want to ask you a question. Sorry.
Please do.
Do you have permission? Do you think
Go ahead.
that these things you're talking about, that these players making, do you think that it could be ability to? That these boys are not even good? It's not as if, for example, now the boy you mentioned, Kingsley Udo, they took him to Atletico Madrid. He didn't
Yes,
make it. So
of
do you
course.
think that we blame the agents in that case?
Yeah,
Will you blame the agent? Will you blame the agent for Alan Lookman misbehaving in AS Monaco or Alan Lookman?
no, see, like I said, sometimes you have to put the blame on everybody, hospital, agents, players, and the parents. Because when an agent takes you to a club, a good club, and the agent will not teach you how to play football, it's not. It will not be. We are not the only player he has. He's not going to tell you how to behave. Like mentioned in the case of the captain, and that of Kingsley Udo. See, some players they were not able to sign because of their attitude. The first player that would have signed through Churchill Olise was one guy from Star Lolu. This guy went to youth team of Regina, youth team, somebody that used to smoke weed back when when during training, the guy was smoking weed. So sometimes we don't have to blame the agents, we have to blame the players too. I'm just saying that I think for now we have more quack agents than good agents, which is why we want to blame, why we want to raise too much of the blames on the coach, on the agents. Like you said forward, that when a player is 20 and an agent sees him, and you're like, 20, please go and cut it to foreign.
So I just want to make one point to IoT about these
Okay.
agents. So I want to talk about the issue of neutrality. How neutral are those agents? In terms of interest. So when you said this thing, I was making some research today. About I took a story about John Olashitu. He was the agent
Yes,
of John.
John Mikel.
So when the whole thing happened, I'm going to use this word now. I know that you use it too. Man, you kidnapped John McAvoy because they asked him to stay in a
They locked
hotel,
him up in a room. Yeah.
locked him up and everything. So at the end of the day, he said that he didn't even know how John Olashitu climbed the fence and knew exactly where he was and packed his own bag and escaped security and he jumped the fence. He said that John Olashitu carried his bag on his head when they were jumping the fence. So, but what caught my attention in that whole story was that when they were dragging the whole thing with the FA in England, FIFA was involved. Alex Ferguson asked to see John Baker Obi 1-to-1. John Olashitu said that anything we said, he coached Mikel that anything Ferguson is saying, just say no to everything. Mikel now said something that in all this, nobody that was neutral to give him advice. Olashitu was on the side of Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was telling him that, okay, are you sure you want to reject United? Just be neutral. His families back home were really after those that were looking after them. That's what they want to know.
Yes.
Everybody is okay. So the issue about neutrality is also part of it. Sometimes some agents are like working for some clubs that in case there's a club that comes for this particular player, they will be biased. They will not want the player to sign for this different club. They want to sign the player for the one they work for. For example, now, with due respect, if you are taking a player to Lillestrøm, or what you call it, in Norway. We know who get the link. If you like, say, yeah, it's for, we know who gets the link. When you're talking about Varenenga, is it? Varenenga, the one that
Yeah.
Vanarenga.
uh,
But
we know who got the link.
If
You
it's
know,
Midtjylland, we know
if
who
you
has.
be vigilant, we
got
know.
the link. We know got the link.
Mm.
So some of these players, some of these agents, they tend to, the issue of being neutral, I think, is also another key thing that is affecting, these players, because sometimes these agents will not be able to give informed opinion on what they think. They will also want to look after their pockets when they want to make career defining decision
For
for
players.
this play or these players. Because, for example, now I want to say second story. Sorry, the guy John, is it John Duran that went to Saudi Arabia?
Saudi, yeah,
Saudi Arabia.
Yes. When we know our man was about to go, it was the agent of Don Duran that told them that they should not worry, that they will get John Duran to sign for them. To tell you how powerful. We don't know what transpired between John Duran agent and the Saudi mega box. We don't know. But we knew that for you to speak in tongues, you must be praying first, Maybe that is it. There must be there's no smoke without fire. So I'm coming, I just. So that is the reason why I think that some of these agents are not neutral in terms of career defining moments. So in this case, if they cannot give informed opinion and they are not neutral, that means that I will not say that they are supporting the career growth of that player. So in my own opinion, I still think that that neutrality thing, is really not there, and it's also affecting the way leaders are growing. That was my submission about my example about Mike and this John Duran's agent, which actually was the Mike always in the public space. That Olashitu wanted to, because I don't know how much Abramovich gave Olashitu, but what I know basically is that and he wanted, and from there after that too. Olashitu was involved. I think he transferred some players too from Nigeria. From his own
Yes.
school after. So for me, I think the issue of neutrality too, when it comes to decision making too, I think is a big thing in this again discussion.
Miss Adedotu, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something quickly, then
I
I'll
would
go
say
after.
Smith. There can never be any neutrality in the sense that the agent, that's his business. That's business. We all do things called business. If I want to do something for humanity or voluntarily, when I take you there, I don't care. If it depends on you, choose who you want to play for, either Man U or Chelsea. But these guys are businessmen too, and this is universal because before these guys signed for PSG, Donnarumma, he wanted to stay in Milan, but God bless his soul, his former agent Mino Raiola passed the late Mino Raiola because it's of his own percentage. He refused. He refused to let Donnarumma sign. Donnarumma said it. And that's why we listened. When Donnarumma left, we told his brother too, you must leave. Because Milan said, as long as they will sign Donnarumma, they will keep his older brother too, Antonio. So he had to leave. But the PSG sign his brother, no. So all agents want to work for their own pockets. And now why they want to do, and everybody wants to create a good environment for himself, so that all the players can wait sign for him. Now look at the agents of this guy, the agents of Ronaldo, John Mendes. You know how many players he has in his camp? That's why we say that a good agent should work hard to make a good player get a good club, and should keep the pace. I agree with you that some agents are bad. I'm just saying that the agent can never be neutral because he's doing business. Like the boy Ayoti was saying, maybe Ayoti just want to help that boy. Oh yeah, go and play. Ayoti is not interested if whether he signs for Man U or he signs for Roma or anything. He's doing his own. But if you are doing for business, bro, you have to take side. Oh, you have to take side.
Okay.
So on that,
I want
On
to, I
that,
want to,
on
I
that
want
side.
to add something to this here. I want to add something to this. So, Smila, you're asking about neutrality when it
Okay.
comes to working with the clubs or the agents' loyalty or whatever
When it comes
to the
to the
club.
career of the player, to give
Yeah.
him an informed decision, yeah.
So the reality of it is that if you have a client,
Mm-hmm.
you should always be looking out for your client's best
Mm-hmm.
interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the reality. You should always be looking out for your client's
Interesting.
best interest. But
Mm-hmm.
then there's certain things that come into consideration. And that is why the term conflict of interest exists,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whereby something is conflicting between what you should be doing for this client versus maybe what you should be doing for your relationship with the
Mm-hmm.
director of this club.
Yeah.
For example, you know that if you help this club get one or two talents that really do well for them,
Mm-hmm.
in the future, you have the potential to come to them and say, I have this other talent for you, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
listen to you and they'll want to take it. It's more money for you, it's
Yeah.
more exposure, it's more work, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that dilemma starts to come into play. When that conflict of interest now starts to exist, in an ideal world, in an ideal situation, you should side with your client because your client is the one that you have a contract with. Your
Mm-hmm.
client is the one that you're responsible for. Your
Yeah.
client is the one that has put their situation in your hands and has
Mm-hmm.
said they want you to take control of their career.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, unfortunately, because again, finances, we know that in football, the money that we talk about in football, one transfer, you can earn somebody's annual salary, if not more than that. So when the money now comes into play, a lot of people are not able to necessarily side with their clients who they should be siding with. And this
Mm-hmm.
becomes another issue. But Smith, you also kind of opened a different can of worms when you talk about, I don't even know if we'll call this corruption, but we'll talk about quote unquote the corruption that happens between clubs.
Mm-hmm.
There's Nigerian players. I'm not going to say name any name for lack of me having any hard evidence. Maybe person will go sue me. But there's
But
Nigerian players that
if they sue, they go meet you there.
have there's Nigerian players that have joined certain clubs, and we've heard that the club gave his family maybe 1 million,
Mm-hmm.
or the club gave this person this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So clubs at the same time when they want to sign players, they do whatever they can to settle the anybody that they need to settle to make sure that they have that player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case of the example you gave of a John Mikelobi,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for a fact, but Mikel said it that Chelsea had been taking care of him.
Yes.
Miguel Chelsea had
And the
been taking
family
care of
too.
him and his family. So
Yes.
we don't know how much Chelsea have already sent home to Nigeria. We
Mm-hmm.
don't like if Chelsea's taking care of his family. Obviously, Chelsea would have done something for his agents too to say, okay, thank you for
Mm-hmm.
helping us to secure this player,
Mm-hmm.
etc. So when it comes down to that decision that has to be made between Chelsea and Manchester United, now the agent is going to look at it that if I don't deliver this boy for Chelsea, my relationship with Chelsea is going to be ruined.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer about what is best for the boy. It's
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that Chelsea has maybe spent, maybe let's just say Chelsea has spent £500,000 or they've spent £1 million. And now,
They said
I,
300 first payment allegedly. Allegedly.
so Chelsea has spent all this money. I need to do my own part because we had an agreement. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's why it becomes a case whereby see it doesn't matter what the other club tells you, is no. That
Mm-hmm.
club might have come with a better plan for the players' development. They might
Mm-hmm.
have even come with better everything could have been
Mm-hmm.
better. But
Mm-hmm.
because you've already collected some money on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even up to recently, Chelsea still did similar with Moises Caicedo
Mm-hmm.
before he joined. They are, helping his family back home, everything. Nigerian players that have transferred of recent, similar has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Before they joined a certain club, the club has sent the money to their family back home, has
Mm-hmm.
established their family so that the player doesn't have to worry about things like
Yeah.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is a corrupt practice per se. Maybe a professional licensed agent can tell us better. But this is something that happens in football. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, it removes that neutrality that a lot of people have. It is
Yeah.
not very easy when big money has exchanged hands,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you've agreed things under the table.
Mm-hmm.
Is now difficult for players or for agents in these situations to be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do what I think is in your absolute best interest. At that
Yeah.
point, they just have to maintain relationships
and they will
Mm-hmm.
tell you what they need to do to keep the money in
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one situation.
Mm.
Before we go on, guys, just because we have our another person waiting to join, let me just bring him into the conversation now and hear what he has to say. Good evening, Hobber.
I do bring
Yes,
this guy.
good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, Humble Henry, we've been talking about this for the past hour now. The topic is, are football agents ruining age grade football in Nigeria? We've looked at some of the negatives. We've also looked at some of the positives that agents provide in the ecosystem of Nigerian football and age grade football in Nigeria. Where do you stand in this debate?
Yes, first of all, before an agent becomes an agent, he or she needs to discipline himself. He or she needs to spend more on himself before he now begins to go to another person or to begins to sell players. The problem is this. Everybody, let me use Nigeria, they want quick money. You have to invest on yourself first before you start trying to invest on people. There's a story that I listened to the owner of Simba. The owner of Simba in Tanzania said that he lost almost $20 million,
Mhm.
but he didn't make any profit at his stance now. But what matters is the happiness of people. So far as that, Simba is making everybody happy, uniting the country. No problem. He's helping. Why am I saying this? Others, they have to start going to seminars. They have to educate themselves first. They have to know the business. Because if you know the business, you can be able to sell good product on that business. If you don't know the business, when they bring a fake product to you, you will carry it. You have to know the business. Knowing the business will help you to bring the best quality of the product in that business. Now, let's be honest, since 2020 or since 2015 or 16, after Osime, nothing. Even the one that Smith said that he prophesied, praying that it will come to pass, he will go for AFCON 2027. Yes, there's a process that the guy is good. Watch out. He may end up in Saudi Arabia. He might end up in Korea when they saw it and pump money. You see the great talent that Smith see will not come to reality. But if the agent is
Are you
people
laying
that say,
your
eh?
Are you laying a curse on the boy?
You say,
Are you laying a curse on the boy?
I'm not doing a call. It's not a course. It's not about him. It's all about the people managing him. It's not about, he has talent, but the people managing him will not allow that talent to come to what actuality or reality.
It's in good hands.
Hmm. The good hands, I pray he's in good hands, and I pray that they will not come and use money and say, you see this person, we want to spend money on this person. Please, the Saudi, they want this person. And the person in the good hand will change my mind. Let's be honest. Now that football is business. If it's in the good hand, I pray the agent will continue to allow the guy to develop. It's a gradual process. But if they don't want the guy to develop and they are looking for money, I don't think that development or that growth will come to reality. The problem is Agents, please, if you know that this player is exceptional, I beg you in the name of God, don't because of money, you say because of money, because of the family, poverty, poverty. Hell no. The family had been surviving before he went. The family will continue to survive. No need to rush. Life is step by step. That's the only thing I can say for now.
All right. Thank you, Humble Henry. Um, we are going to wrap the conversation up very soon, but I want to ask about something in particular with reference to our youth national teams, under
Yeah.
17, under 20. So, Smidlai, I'll let you chip in on this first. When you look at our youth national teams today and our
Yeah.
inability to find new talents that can at least match the level of talents that we have seen in the past,
Mhm.
do you think this issue is fueled by quote unquote these bad agents and the things that they are doing, or is it a talent issue? What do you say?
It's both. It's both talent issue and also has to do with agents. But let me explain the issue of agents first and how it works. If a player attends a national trial, if the player is good, they will ask you, say, where you come from.
Hmm,
It's like, who's your father?
Mhm.
Some agents there are stationed there. They will say, work with this person, if you want to be picked up. I'll give you a typical example. There's a player that you have interviewed before, IoT, but I don't want to go into that player again. The player was begging the coach of under 17 that even if he's left back, let him play left back.
hmm,
He was begging them, say, even if he's left back, said no, we don't do. The player self now got like a big move, better than everybody with come for that trials. So what
hmm,
I'm just trying to say basically is that agents, they are one of the major problems, and that is one of the reasons why we don't see talents in that group. Except the coach realizes that he's a good player, and nothing can stop him from taking this player. Because sometimes too, these coaches too, they normally, they will do their things very well. Okay, if I pick 6 good players, I beg. Other ones, I beg, bring, they know how to balance it. So agents, they play a role, a very big role in the decay of our youth system.
hmm,
And even if they see the player is very good, they will not pick that player if the player is not connected to a particular agent. I'm sorry, I'm going to mention them here because it's like no holds back. This is Wahala Day. Is Marvon the only academy in Nigeria?
hmm.
Mavlon.
Is Water FC, because they are changing colors now. If there was somebody else saying like play Jump Jump, he's playing for Water. We use Jump Jump. So the issue is, are they the only academy in Nigeria? Why is it that we keep on getting calls up from both under 17, under 20? That means say that academy gets snake for hand. It's not the only, it's not the best. I'm hearing grasshopper. I don't know where grasshopper. Adoration. I don't know if you are doing
Yes.
an adorating family worship. So the issue is that if the player is not connected to a particular academy, they will not. And talking about talent, see, I'm going to pick a particular player as an example, Daniel Bamayi. If Daniel Bamayi played youth football in 1991,
Hmm.
92, of 95, if he played youth football, Bamayi would have maybe moved from Nigeria to France, because at that time, what they need, even when I was growing up, I was a defender. I normally clear ball
Yes.
from the back. So, I was a defender. So, the the player what they need or similar to what Bamayi is producing. The coach that coached Bamayi, maybe when he was younger, those coaches too, they are these old school coaches. They did not input anything meaningful to his development. So this is what they will be teaching, what they taught them in NIS in 1976, 77, 78. That is what they will input in his knowledge, in his development. So we continue to do that thing until we go to Europe and unlearn those things. You can ask Taiwan Wani for these things. He went to Europe to go and unlearn most of the things he learned in Nigeria. So the talent we are producing now, they are not like what is really required that much. And secondly, too, the Japa syndrome is not helping. Why would I go to Africa and play player when there's an African-born player beside me here? Before, there was no Japa, that syndrome. So they can stay here and just pick the Nigerian ball. Look at English team now. It used to be Barnes, you see? John Barnes, I was the only black boy
Yeah.
playing for. Look at the current English team now. So I don't need to go to Africa to go and recruit some. There are too many of them, like National Academy, Chelsea Academy too. So, and the ones who are producing at home, they cannot measure up to what they require in Europe. That is one of the major problems. So it's not as those science are not there, but the education is not there. And finally, it's like they teach you physics, teaching you with Abbott's textbook that was that they wrote in 1964. And there was no proton electron. There was nothing. There was nothing.
Typewriter without no computer.
There was no proton. There was nothing positron there. There was no Bluetooth. There was no infrared. So there. It's that same Abbott textbook that Nigerian using now. How will you compete with this modern day football? That is the major problem. The education is not there, and that's what we're lacking behind.
Okay, thank you, Smith. Mr. Adedotu, let me throw the same question at you. So, do you think that our lack of seeing high quality players in our youth systems today is because of agents or is because of other factors?
I agree with what Smith said because of agents and other factors. What's the other factor? The football administrators not paying the coaches as I went due. These coaches too, they have families, they have bills. So when I'm not trying to make a case for them or justify, I'm not trying to justify their wrongdoings. But when you are not paying the coach their salaries as I went due, and he has a wife, he has children, he has aged parents, he has to take care of. So if Ombweli brings a player from Holy Cathedral that doesn't know anything, another boy from Holy Cathedral, and comes envelope, the coach will take it. So now we have to blame all those that are responsible for it. We have to blame our floor administrator for not paying the coaches well. We have to blame the coaches too for not standing their ground or like, oh, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to take this job. And we have to blame the agents too. Because one of these agents, like I always say, in a long time, I've not seen good players in our youth team. And look at the way it is in the Western world, even here in the US, that will say we don't really play soccer here. Let's use Europe for example. Almost all the clubs have under 13, under 15s. So it is easy for Coach Henry, to pick his under 17 without waiting for any agents. It's very, very easy. Now our coaches are now lazy that they don't go to competitions to pick players no more. Because they will know that agents will bring players and they get paid. And these agents too, because of their own greediness too, they will not bring players that are within the age range of that competition. They go and bring some players, or even a player that's within the age of the age range, they're going to cut the age because now in Europe they want young players. I don't see any reason why I should be having. That's why you see when I go for competition now, when I go for competition, I think the last set was Elsman set. that will have players that still play in the national team in the last 5 6 years. Tell me any coach that went on the 17-20, they have got the players that play in national team. If not for Spilai, me, I didn't even know that Igbo was part of the 2019 team. I didn't know these guys. Or if these guys have not gone abroad, even I'm always said, apart from the one that's playing in Russia, uh, Olakunle Junior, which one is still playing? Even the one that keeps playing Goose, where is he now? One went to Israel, John 2, Peter Lawale. Apparently, we don't hear of him again. Or our friend Olatomi, where are those boys? So what I'm trying to say is that even the agents are, in as much as the agents are causing problems in our other age grade football, even the coaches should not be left out of blame. But I would still say, as for me, most blame should go to the actual NFF. Why? For not providing adequate tools for the coaches to work. Pay the coaches that are going to, so we know who to blame. So I will not on that. I'll blame the agents, but I'll put most blames on the FA.
Mm.
Because like I said, if you remember one of our friends here, Yinka Dedeji, he said when he went to 2020, Seattle fell in love with him. He said that it was Seattle that wanted him, fell in love with him. That
Mm.
no, I want this guy. As again, he didn't have a club. He was just going for Prince Academy.
Mm.
Like me say, some coaches want to pick, okay, let me pick some good players. But now, how many coaches are going around looking for players? They don't. They don't just stay there because I see. You can't tell me that you are doing open camp for under 70 and you have 50,000 people coming for trials all over the country. How do you want to pick your 22? No, those are just favorability.
Mm.
You wait for all these agents to bring players. They are the ones you are going to bring from, and the ones and the players you know from your academy.
Mm.
So the all blame should go to the FA, to the agents, and to the coaches. Nobody should be left out.
Mm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Didotun. Humble, I have a different question that I want to ask you now. So, talking
Okay.
about the way these selections happen in the national team, when, let's say, an agent is supposed to look out for his clients or her client's best interest. When it's time for a national team trial, do you think the agent is within their rights to say, okay, if I know the coach, why can't I tell the coach to take a look at my player? Or is that a wrong thing and the agent should just take their player there and keep quiet and hope that their player does well? Or is it okay for them to say, Coach, I brought this boy here, oh, look at him, I think he'll be good for the team? What do you think, Cumberland?
Okay. Now, I don't have problem if the agent is taking players to the coach, telling coach this player is good. Where my problem is, you are bringing somebody that is not good, trying to convince the coach. Now, how are they? When you start giving a coach money, there is a product that product is not good. When you start bribing the coach, please look at my player. I will give you 6 million. That player is not good. But if the player is good, coach, I want you to try this person. If it is not good, don't put him.
Mhm.
I don't have problem if the agent. Where my problem is, you are coming with the player, you are giving the coach money. It shows that that player is not good. You are fighting all means to regain the money you have spent on that player, to carry that nationality. I has played for Nigeria under 20 under this to sell the player in order to regain your own money. If the player is good, for instance, maybe the academy in Awoni's brothers academy, this thing, Awoni said, coach, I want you to try this player. Put this player. If it is not good, don't pick him. If it is good, pick him. I don't have problem there, but my concern is agents going to an extent of giving the coach money. Please, I will give you a car, put my player. That player is not good. And if I see that kind of people, I love to expose them.
Mm.
And another thing, if they're bringing that kind of player, either that player is over age,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're finding all means for them to sell that player.
Mm.
Mm.
Alright.
Okay, Humble Henry, let me just follow up and ask you another question similar to that one. So, one of the
Okay.
things that I highlighted when I was speaking earlier, and something that happens and I've heard from several people about, is when they have these showcases in
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria. So a lot of the time now, if I'm the agent, I will organize showcase. I will call maybe one scout from one country to come and
Mm-hmm.
watch. But I've
Mm-hmm.
already spoken to the scout and say these three boys, they are the ones that are very good, and I want you to carry these three boys.
Mm-hmm.
But then now I will invite 100 players to come for showcase when
Mm-hmm.
I know that in reality this scout is coming to just watch three people that are my
Mm-hmm.
clients. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think that is the right, like, is it okay for somebody to do something like that? Or because they want their player to be seen, that's why they're organizing the showcase. But the rest of the boys that are coming think that they are coming for an opportunity, whereas
Okay.
they are just coming to be there to help
Okay.
these three people to look good. What do you think about
Okay.
that?
Okay. Now, if it is showcase, is different from picking players to play for the national team,
Yeah.
right? If it is you are trying to showcase something, allow the person to choose. You said you are the one that bringing somebody from a manager from Norway or a manager from Turkey. Say, I have like 22 players. Allow him to pick. Once you have said these are the three players I want you to do, you are compromising. There's something hidden agenda on it. What if I come and the three players you're seeing, they are not measuring up and I pick up outside of those three players? I will not trust you. Let the person who merits it pick. Let
But
them
the
pick the
issue,
one that's
so
supposed to merit.
see, Humphrey, this is the issue now.
Mhm.
If maybe the player where you can't like, nah, I did not player. Now,
Uh-huh.
me that I
Mhm.
brought you to Nigeria now, want to select my player. Now that's where
Mhm.
the conflict starts.
Okay. Now, for me, if I'm the one choosing a coach, okay, let's take as example the story that I said Adeyinka said when Siasia picked him. He wasn't among. He said, "I want you." There's something he saw. He said, "I want this guy. That is what I want. I don't want you bringing people to me. You are limiting me. And if you're bringing people to me, you're bringing something behind in order for me to do. And that is the problem of that our coach under 20. They limited him. Yes, and EFCC have to investigate on him. Yes. He has to be investigated. Yes. They limited that man. Are you telling me that Bamayi is the only person, let's be honest to ourselves, in the whole Nigeria who is the best? It's not nice for me. I will question me any day I will see him on life. I'll tell you, how did you choose Bamayi that repeated class? That is the problem. Somebody have that. Why are you choosing him? You just give me reason. The reason is it the best than any other place? If you tell me that, I say, oh, therefore you didn't do your job very well. There are millions. If you go to Lagos, street of Lagos, there are millions. If you go to Kaduna, if you go to Jos, there are millions of them better than Bamayi, because somebody went and said, pick him. Hands really exchange. They exchange hands for me. Yes.
Mm.
That's my own thing. My own thing is this: don't if you're bringing a player to a coach, you don't give a coach any money. Allow him to choose, allow him to look at the player. Give a player a coach condition. Please, if he is good, pick him. If he's not good, don't pick him.
Mm, mm.
That's my
Okay.
own thing, yes.
All right. Thank you. Smith, let me just quickly ask you that same question very quickly, and then we'll move on to solutions.
Yeah.
So, like I was asking, if an agent is organizing a showcase
Mhm.
and they bring a scout from abroad,
Yeah.
is it okay for the agent to tell the scouts, these three are my players, I want you to watch my boys? Or is the agent supposed to just allow the showcase to happen? And even if is another is Humble Henry's client or is Adedotun's client that the scout likes, allow the agent to pick those players for the opportunity abroad.
Okay. For me, I know. I think I have a small knowledge about how showcase works. I think when you want to do showcase, if there's going to be a star person organizing the showcase, so but maybe the person is not really financially buoyant, you can ask for support, maybe from different academies to come. But they normally ask the guy coming, the scout, that can a guy be this, so please focus on them. And those coming too, because it's my showcase, if they pick your player, there's going to be what? Certain what percentages. I think it's
Mhm.
normal. It's normal. It's
Mm,
normal for you to say that you focus on your player. That is it. See, we are just acting as if say because we are abroad. See, it's not. If you all we are saying posh, posh, posh here now. If you enter the field in Nigeria, that is the situation. You
mm,
focus on my boys. See, it happened. One of my friends now will be watching this show now and be nothing there say because we had this conversation. One of Umbo's friend, he want to do showcase, so he want to do showcase. But it was his players that he
I
was
beg
pushing.
you.
So that is just normal from all these
That's
players.
business.
And but what I see, basically is that when they bring these agents too, how good are these agents? Because sometimes you pick a player
Facts.
from
Mhm.
the player will go and fail the player in Europe. For example, now one man came in Nigeria. He said he came 3 times. He said those 3 times he did not see any player,
mm,
but they forced him to pick player. Because, they don't pay. If you don't pay your hotel bill, they don't pay this. Okay, 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 okay. I go choose player. All the player where you choose, all the most boy fail trial for you. They fail trials.
mm,
So sometimes I believe that because IoT said this neutrality compromised. So any system that be compromised, you can't expect anything integrity to come out of it. With due respect on that. So for me, I just think that the showcase people do the things the way they like because they have spent money. They want to see the money quickly. So
mm,
they will have to look after their interests. And that is what they do all the time. For example, now there's one big agent in Europe. If you're coming to a showcase, all your player must submit, sign. If they pick your player, I'll be in charge. I'll give you 10%, I'll be 20% later. That is it. And the guy, you know the guy, and I don't want to mention the guy's name, he's half Nigerian, So I don't mention him. So you submit to submit to him that he's going to say he's in charge of this thing, and he will do the business for you. So how he will do it, forget it.
mm.
It's going to do it. So for me, I just think that these guys, how they do their own thing. They push their players forward as the priority, and that is what I think is normal too. It's not it's there that you cannot. There's no how you can your son can be so good, and you want to be looking after another person's son. You have to look after your own boss. So that is it because your player you have 100% control on that player than a player coming from
Somewhere
somebody.
else.
Let me just give you an
Okay.
example. There was a player that went to Europe just about a year ago. The boy scored like 24 or 25 goals in a season for one of the youth clubs in Europe. If I mention the name, people will know the player I'm talking about. When immediately the boy want to sign, I was hearing that who I calling? Now my boy, you. Now
Mm,
my boy, you. Now my boy, you. Now my boy, you.
Okay.
Because the boy scored
So
24, 25 goals, they want
Mm.
they want to let the earth loose. No, no, no. And if 10 people already call you, say that my boy, yo, how do you want them to actually what be? So the issue basically is that they just make sure that if now you get the player, you will not have that issue. But because somebody bring the player, that's why they have that issue. So showcase people, they would rather
Mhm.
push their players than the players coming from a different academy. That's
Okay,
why.
before
Then
And you
before
see,
sorry,
I
sorry,
wanted to say
hold
one
on,
thing.
Humble
There's
Henry,
something.
Humble
Yeah.
Henry. See, just very quick because I want us to move to solutions very quickly. But Smith, I want to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that is the situation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm organizing a showcase. Okay, that's the way things are done.
That's what it's done.
Are the players aware that okay, you're coming? Oh, the
Mm-hmm.
showcase is supposed to highlight IoT FC players.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get spotted, you are going to sign with IoT and IoT will be in charge of your transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Does the player know before coming, or is the player coming just okay? I'm coming to try, and then all of a sudden now you start Adedotu will start saying, oh yeah, you have to go to IoT. IoT is now the person in charge, everything like that. Because as a parent now, for example, if I've signed off and say, okay, Smidlai, I want you to take care of my boy,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden now you are giving my boy to IoT because
Mm-hmm.
IoT organized showcase. It's not IoT that I put my boy in his hands. So
Mm-hmm.
do they usually explain to the players that okay, oh, if something comes, IoT is going to be the one in charge now because it's the showcase? What is that how it works?
If you want to see anybody that can lie more, like, most of these boys agents. Agent will never explain to their player. They say that now then get the Oyibo. They will tell the players, now then get the Oyibo and then pay for everything. So that they can see them as that mini god, big god. And
Mm,
these players too, they're not loyal. They're not
mm,
loyal players. See, if you do something for a player, sorry, I don't know how to say it. I don't know you can help interpret it. Like when you put your shoulder for body, it's like you are just doing
like you're
something.
just you're helping a monkey. The monkey
Yes,
jump from one person to another.
they are not grateful. See, if the agent explain to those players that I'm not being get time and I think I get time, maybe you should we, at your back, they will go and meet the other person. Say, I beg go. This our guy
Right?
don't get level. They want
mm,
to, I beg go. See also, I go sign for you. Oh. And don't forget that these boys are the boss of their Ogatu. Forget about all this thing. I will go beat you up, I will do anything. Forget about those boys are so ungrateful. They will just go to that other guy too. So agent will not explain to them. They will say, okay, we will negotiate. That is it. If at the end of the day, the player got picked and everything, you say, okay, we'll negotiate. That is not your business. Your business
mm,
is to play football. They will tell them. But these boys, if they tell them that where we are going, don't bring get time, see, the boss way food, go that showcase. Now only you and maybe your coach now you go come back. All of them with don't pot where there's no document, there's nothing
mm,
to show.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let me just
Humble Henry wanted to say something
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. I think now this is the what I would say is a problem of trust. For instance,
yes,
if I'm trying to make a business with Mr. Day and Smith, there's supposed to be an agreement between us. Okay, I'm the one bringing the Oyibo from where they are coming to Nigeria. Now I said, okay, you are bringing 11 players. I'm bringing 11 players. Mr. Day, everybody bringing 11 players. Now, since I am the one bringing the Oyibo, if they choose your player, it's gonna be 60-40. Is it okay? If they choose any of maybe Smith or Mr. Death player, it will be 60-40. If both of us have an agreement, the players they are trying to scout will not even know what is going on. It will be between me, Smith, and Mr. Day. That's what I'm just looking at it. But the problem is greedy. I don't think that any of them will agree. No, 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 no. And with that, the player they want to scout will now, the information will leak because of when 2 or 3 people try to do business, that would be a problem. But if it is one person, there will not be a problem. There must be a Judas. But if there is a trust among the 3 of us, I think the business will go well. Even if they choose Mr. Ade, at least I will get 40%. I will not have a problem. I will not even have the man to say, these are my players, or telling you, but these are my players. If they choose my players, no problem. If they didn't choose my player, I will not lose because I will get 40% from each person.
Mm,
If they choose Mr. Des player, Mr. Des, at least I will get 60%. Everybody will be on the same page.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about solutions a little bit.
Sorry, can I just say one a little while, because I used to be in that
Okay.
system.
30
I think,
seconds beside that.
yeah, what I Ombori and Spinach said, that's that what happened. Back then, Churchy will tell you, okay, we have a program. Uh, if they pick your players, our manager players are giving you something. It's an agreement. I think now most people are just greedy now. Most people are greedy now. Maybe that's why I think if you are doing a showcase, you're doing a showcase, when you invite some players from some clubs, let there be an agreement that if they pick your players, we are going to do it this way. Because that was how Churchy used to do it. It was Talibo West that started that thing first. That okay, let's do that. Sometimes agents will come from France or Italy. When they pick your players, you have an agreement. I think it's lack of trust and greed that has now spoiled that make people like, fine, if you are bringing an agent, you want the agent to see your players. But you know, the player that is coming, the perspective at which you are seeing those players might not be the same perspective. So we are bringing all the players from what they used to do that they will go to other clubs. Oh, it's like FC, Umbro FC, bring your players. Then you have an agreement. If they pick players from Spila FC, no, man, you are not at loss. Still, you guys have an agreement of 20, maybe 80 to 20 to 80%, 80 to 20%. That's just it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dotson. I'll just stick with you now as we transition to solutions, so that let's not only talk about issues, let's also talk about potential solutions. We want the youth systems in Nigeria to be better. We want the youth systems in Nigeria to develop more young players. We have this current strong focus on selling players. Everybody wants to sell players. People are not really talking about developing players. Mr. Didotun, what do you think can be done to change this mentality so that we actually work hard to develop players? Because I believe that if we develop players the right way, you will still sell them. But
Yes.
if you only focus on selling, a lot of the players that you sell might not necessarily go big or have long careers. You will see many cases that you sell this person, the person goes and languishes in Eastern Europe for the next 15 years. Or you sell somebody in another 3 years, once their first contract is over, they are back in the MPFL. So, what do you think can be a solution to this problem so that we can start developing players and not just selling players?
Thank you very much. I was saying we should go back to basics. What the basics? All academies should be scrapped. They'll
Scrapped.
become, yes, to become class to football. Let clubs, let professional clubs we have run academy. Let us have Enyimba under 13, under 10, like when they days began Europe.
Hmm.
Because I'm telling you, the way it is, because those academies are the problems. Let them scrap academies and let them go back to grass football. Let those people go back to what they used to be. Let all our clubs be run professionally. Let them have all other age grades too. You know what I'm saying? Let them have under 13, under 14, under 15. So that if IoT, if you have players, you can take your player, your player to Enyimba. You can take your players to shooting under 14. So that's what I feel. I'm not fine. It's gonna stop business for some people. I don't. To me, I'm talking about what's for the good, for the greater good of the country. You know, let all these mushroom academies should be scrapped. If our academy, like our academy, Glory Babes, then we're all under railways. I play for railway feeders team. I play for railway feeders team. I play level league. Then all the clubs around local Yaba, all the clubs they used to go to play to. All the players go to either railway feeders team. So that's why I'm going to say all professional clubs should run academies,
Hmm.
not all these mushroom academies that we have around. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Smidlai, let me ask you to piggyback on that because Mr. Adedotun is saying that he thinks they should scrap academy system in Nigeria and focus on MPFL. But we know that even Smidlai, whenever we talk about the MPFL, sometimes you say it yourself that the league itself is barely professional.
No, no,
So
no, sorry,
can
not
we?
MPFL. Sorry, not MPFL. I said all the clubs, like all the MPFL clubs, should have academies. You have under
Yes,
10,
yes,
under 13, that
we
I'm saying.
understand. We understand. So what we're saying is that a lot of these clubs can barely run themselves as they are in a good way. Similarly, if we put these clubs now, we put our youngsters in the hands of these clubs, do you think that it can work? Yes, or if no, then what solution can you prefer, Smidlai?
For me, it's also about interest. If it's a private or if it's someone is private or privately owned clubs, it can actually work. But for me, I think if it's government owned club, it's going to be like another area of siphoning money. And at the end of the day, it's going to be 0.0. When Enyimba, I'm going to put Enyimba example. When they were asked to present under 15 team, they went to go and pick people selling market in Aba to come and play there. They were M70, 80 when they were in the La Liga under 15. That they played in the in Canada. So the issue basically is just because we're doing it because of protocol. I don't think you know this now. When you want to have your guy coming to check your book, that is 2 days before you have to start packaging. Don't say all this. When they check, you forget everything. That is it. When they ask them to do it, they will focus on it because it's not bringing in money. There's no point about development. So for me, if you say you want to put academy solely on those clubs that are even not professional, a club that I'm hearing one of their director is playing for them, a club is that a well-run club. So I'm just I saw a training session today and the director is going to play with them. So for me, it's I just think that these clubs are not run professional IoT.
Hmm.
Except you want to say, okay, a privately owned club have their own MPFL team and also have their own under 15, 17 team. We know that it's private. When something is private, you know that you have your own, any mistakes there, somebody take responsibility. In this government owned this, nobody takes responsibility.
Hmm.
If one government get voted out today now, Commissioner of Sports that is coming will take over. And when he takes over, he starts from the basic and maybe sack all the academy players, sack all the coach, bring different one there. So it's like so that is that. So for me, I think it cannot work. Where I think the solution is, see, because Nigeria situation is very unique, and in commotion, you must look for areas you can solve how to solve it. One, I think the NFF should look for a way to hold on to ITC, International Transfer Certificate of a player.
Hmm.
It's not as if somebody will go and do it right under the table. Before you can get international transfer certificate and leave the MPA, leave Nigeria, ah, you will sweat to.
We
That is
sweat.
that is how you can curb this migration very well. Know where the player is going to. And secondly, all the agents, is it mushroom agent? Or I think said that we have world class, we have NPFL class, Nigerian class. We know the world class agents, we know them. But all these intermediary, they should go and register with the NFF. They should have ID cards. So if they maltreat a player, they slap player, that
Smith, now you the talk.
no, I don't mention them. I didn't mention them. If they slap
Okay.
because the player did not win a game, the slap player. At least we have a channel we have a channel to report them to. We know who to report them to. We know how to control them. So I just think that the NFF should have the database of the agents. Can you scrap academy? For me, I think it's going to be difficult for you to say you want to scrap academy, but you can just regulate them. Academy,
Good.
academy, you must have some basic things. You must have teachers. You must have first aid. You must have home. You can't be homeless and say your academy. You must have home. Is it owned or rented area? You must have coach, at least with CAFC license. It's not as if you're having PE teacher. You must have those basic things in place for you to be called academy. So they have to regulate it. If they don't regulate it, we're going to face this current problem. Some of the, I'm hearing that most of the coaches that went to the NWFL to passes, they don't have certificates. So you must make sure that you actually what you regulate them. That is number one thing. So you must not be homeless. You must have basic things required. We also know that what the same thing that's happening to the academy now is happening to education in Nigeria. Sorry for diverting. So many private schools. Some people will have one room. They call themselves secondary school.
Yes.
So the same thing with academy too. They don't have home. They don't have home. They don't have anything. So academy must be regulated. They must at least be a CAF C or CAF B coach in that academy. And they must be the way you are inspecting schools. NFF should also have like a controlling body to inspect this academy. So
Yes.
that it's not as if they are molesting them there. It's not as if they are doing all these shenanigans there. I've seen academy that the coach, the coach employed his girlfriend as the nurse in the same academy. You are now running the family business. So you're laughing. That is it now. And the person that owns the academy does not know that they are girlfriend and boyfriend running the academy.
But is the person an actual nurse?
No,
Does she
it's
have
a
a
quack.
nursing
You
It's,
license?
see,
it's a quack.
our
It's a
don't
quack.
start bad boys.
It's a
No, no.
Auxiliary nurse.
I'm asking her,
Auxiliary nurse.
does she have a nursing license?
it's a quack
Auxiliary
nurse.
nurse.
Quack nurse that can treat wounds. So so I don't know about that, but the way I say it, it's not qualified. It says she was trained in a private clinic, but not certificate. She was trained in a private
That's what
clinic.
I
So
said. Must be an
auxiliary.
auxiliary nurse.
So these things have to be controlled. If they can control it this way, and I think that we go for better. Not NFF. NFF should section into what? To different states to control it. So that at the end of the day, we go it's going to be better for me. I agree with
So you
that.
think so, Smith? Like your suggestion is more regulation within the academy system in order
Yes.
to ensure that the academies that we have are well-run academies and not
Yes.
just, let me not just go now. If I go to Ojota now, I pick 20 boys. I say IoT Academy, and then all of a sudden now, with no facility, no coaching, no license, nothing. We just call
Mhm.
ourselves academy. Okay,
Yes.
understood.
I
Humble
also
Larry,
look at that
sorry,
comment from
decided to sorry,
Professor
sorry, hold
Mokwesi.
on, Humble Larry, sorry. Let's allow Humble Larry go. So hold on, decided to. Humble Larry. So what would you say is your own preferred solution to this issue of money versus development?
Yeah, let there be first, let there be structure.
Mm.
Before before you say you have an academy, we have to come and look at it. Everything in place. Say, okay, this is the place, everything is fine. We have government have to come or the NFL have to come to accredit everything. Then I said yes. That's number one. Because if you do it that way, all these people, intermediary, conductor, everybody will move back.
Mm.
That's number one. Number two, IoT. Look at it now. In fact, Smith started with education, which I love. Look at government school and the private school. You see how it is. Now, Nigerian government school is nonsense. Now, the private school, look at how they are moving. Beyond limit, everybody is praising beyond limit. Better soup na money maker. If you say you are having your agent, your academy, this let it be proper academy. It's not only playing football, but imparting knowledge on those keys. Have a good coach. Coaches, let them, evaluate themselves, let them educate themselves, let them go seminars. Everything will be fine.
Mm.
Academy, you can't say, no, academy should be no, but let it be. In fact, let the NFF Nigerian football body, make a plan. Say, you know what? We are placing a rule. If you say you will have academy, please you have to register and look at the requirements. Look at what we want to see. But the problem is that all these NFF, they also have their own boys. They also have their academy. That's the problem, and they will not do it. They will not do it. That's the problem. Yeah, they are
Mm.
the problem. If they are NFF, they are the problem. If they want to do it, they will do it. But because of they are getting money from it, they don't care about the interests of the people. Yeah.
Okay, Humble Henry, let me ask you this second question. Looking at potential solutions, so one of the things that you've been very big on is you don't like the bribery that happens at the national team level when it's time to select teams etc, and agents pushing certain players on coaches, things like that. What would you say is your solution to get rid of this issue? What do you think we can do to stop this problem of bribery in the national team at youth level and agents forcing their players into the national teams?
We also know everything boils on the NFF. Pay your coaches. Government, I'm calling government, pay your police people very well. If you don't pay them, they will collect money from people. Now, when you now start paying coaches, when you now said, you know what, they are the problem because they will also bring their own players. They will now say, coaches, choose your players. When you choose players, come to the conference, tell us the players you chose, tell us the reason why you chose those players. Allow the coach to make the list. And during the what's it called? During the trials, in terms of the under 20 or under 17, nobody should introduce players to any player. If you say you know how to play ball, come, let's do the screening. Come, let's do the screening. For instance, Benjamin Frederick. Bossa says it's not good. If not, assuming that they pay money, he would have collected. But now he's the best on their own level. I'm not saying I don't know how good he is right now. But looking at it, let's be honest to ourselves. Let them allow. For instance, I keep on asking this question: how did Siasia pick his players? I want to. How did he pick his players? Everybody is talking about Mikel, everybody is talking about Obas, everybody is talking about um,
Taiwo.
Taiwo. Everybody is talking. How did he pick those
Onyeka.
players? How did Amokachi pick his players? How did this present coach of under 17 pick his players? How did they discover Awoni? Does it mean that agents are normal? They can't give us people like Awoni. They can't give us people like Osime. That is my concern. Does it mean that coaches can't see that they can produce? Yeah, sometimes see, if I am watching under 20, under 17, the way I watch the game is I want to see somebody who is better than Awoni. I know how they played. I want to see somebody who is better than Ihanacho. How did they pick those players? And those players are still playing. That's my concern. Does it mean that we can't find people like Osime anymore? Does it mean they are not there? Who is hiding them? What is going on? So if they can be able to allow the coach, it will be your suffering. You go Lagos, they are there, Kaduna, they are there, Enugu, they are there, Kanu, they are there, Jos, they are plenty in Jos. Aba, they are there. Do your scouting. It will take time. You will hear me, but to do it from picking 150 to 100, from 100 to 70, from 70 to 50, from 50 to 30. It's not gonna be an easy work. Yeah, that's my own take I will say about it.
All right. Thank you very much, Humble Henry. Mr. Didotun, let me ask you the same question. So, what do you think we can do to stop this kind of corruption and cheating in our youth national teams?
Thank you very much. I'll think about the social profile. Like my friends and brothers said, regulations. We are from the same. We are all from the same country. We know that somebody they will tell somebody to go and look at the academy. They will the person will get there when they give the person 2 bottles of Buddha, give him one somebody to stay beside him. Parents will do. I remember when they started MOT, that we taking buses. Some people just go do something. Baba, nobody's regulating anything. When they said they should close down many private schools in Nigeria, how many they close down? Those inspectors should go outside, just entertain them. They know what they will do. See, I'm not saying they should cancel grassroots football. I say academies. Look at what this person, Bofelo Mokwesi said. He said now, for example, in South Africa, they give them an ultimate of all the clubs on the 12, 15, 17, 19, 23. They have not included even female team. Once that if our clubs are being run professionally, we should have all this on the A grade. So if I have a grassroots team, I'm very sure that my boys can go and play, can go to stationery stores on the 12, on the 13. My boys can go to beggar, things like that. Once that if you run football professionally, you know, even it will ease off the pressure on the coaches. That a coach, because a coach doesn't only tell you I'm going to be your passport. We know that Henry Okewale plays for Beggar under 15. So if you see him under 17, we are not going to say, oh, this is it. So that
I
I say
just,
that
I
yeah,
just, sorry, one second, because you're making this. See, the issue is South Africa is a bad example. How many clubs in South Africa are owned by government?
say again.
How many clubs in South Africa are owned by government? The reason we're talking about what you said might not work in Nigeria was because
Documentary.
the government. See, how many clubs are owned privately in Nigeria? Only two
I
of them they
understand.
play in the MPFL. So we are looking at it as a Nigerian solution.
I got
As a
you.
Nigerian solution. So Nigeria is so unique that you must have, you also have a unique problem with unique solutions. That's
Ooh.
just that.
I got you. Like that I said, if you can run it, I said if we can run our course professionally, if we can run them professionally, which I think might be very difficult because, like you said the other on, when another commissioner will come, oh, maybe this coach and these people they don't vote for us, they will hand them off. You know, the
Mhm,
way it is, everything Nigeria now is about interest. So what
mhm.
I think the only way we can do it now, IoT, and I think another thing say we should go back to our academic course. I'm not going to lie you, even back then too, we had some we call them machineries in our academic course. We should, if we can go back to our academic course, that one can even help us a little bit. Bro, I think the only way out is to scatter everything and build afresh. Because where it is now, bro, I doubt if you can get it right. The only way you can get it right to just scatter is to, like everybody be saying, maybe it's to have the foreign born or foreign bred to be representing us. That's the only
Uh,
way out.
Mm.
so can I
Okay.
just say
Smidlai, your thoughts on this quickly?
I just want to comment on that academic first, before you ask me a question. See, the issue is that when the academic worked, how many private schools do we have? How many private schools do we have? They will take in Nigeria a newborn baby to go and be doing nursery. Was easy, right?
Mm.
We have one room like this. It's a school. Then all those
Mm.
St. Philip's, all those Christ school, Ado Ekiti,
Can you
they
see?
have schools, they have pitch to train with. You will see
Yes, you're right.
all churches now, they have schools. All
You're
churches
right.
have schools. So
You're right.
the issue is structure. But let me just, I think I've already said my own thought, but I also like add more to it. Is that we should not be scared to restart, like Rido said. And I will say this way: see, there's no point playing 20 teams in the MPFL. Teams like Lasarawa United, I would just say these are not clubs. Oh, with due respect, it's not properly run. All those academy warriors of Majuburi, for me, they used to be very good team. But if it's 10 teams that we have in Nigeria, I'm sorry, I'm worried. Abia Warriors, you know, these are not
No,
these
no,
are not proper.
you're right. You're
They're not
right. You're
they're
right.
not proper. They're not properly
Look,
run
I
club.
was just watching the field today. I was just shedding tears. You didn't
No,
know.
the pitch at my back garden here, better times 10 of Abia Warriors pitch. So this
That's
is
crazy.
not compulsory that we should have a 20-team league. We can have 12 if it's 12 that are solid. And let's look for a way to bring a football economy around it. See,
Yes.
there's money in football, but the problem is we just don't know how to do it. That is why you will see most people still owing players, owing everybody. Policies can work, but for me, I stand on what I said earlier, that regulation of academies will kickstart everything. Though it will take food off the table of some people, it will take food off the table, but at the end of the day, it will still benefit them. That is it. So, it's going to help Nigeria. It's going to help, the national team. It's going to help everybody. That is what I just think. And, and also too, I'm happy that FIFA project is working in Abuja. Work is already started in Abuja. So national teams too can have camp. When they have camp, agents can just ask them to go. Don't come and disturb them in that camp. Because most of them, I'm sorry, I saw Chips of Congo going to the camp of under 20. Someone like Congo Kano. What is he doing there? Just saying that we should not, let these guys do their work. At the end of the day, the result will come.
Mm. Okay, Smith, I want to ask a major question now to wrap up this our conversation. One
Mhm,
of the biggest issues that we have, which we've had for a long time, but
mhm,
seems to be affecting us maybe more these days than it was before, is the
mhm,
issue of age falsification.
mhm,
Hmm.
Like when I spoke earlier, I said it's like there's a player that reached out to me and said, "Bro, I'm 19. This agent is telling me to say that I'm 15. I don't know what to do."
mhm.
you know what can change in our Nigerian football ecosystem to curb this issue, to discourage people from falsifying their ages so that they are able to actually have better careers and are able to play football for longer, and we don't just have these people that seem to be good at youth level but don't end up developing how we expect them to develop.
IoT, this issue is not only football. It has to do with leadership. I'm not lying to you. A former Nigerian president, they asked him that, Uncle Shege, but you are our uncle. How come you are this young? Say, when they gave birth to him, they used charcoal to write his date of birth. So when rain fell, the, the rain washed the charcoal away. So they did not remember the date. So it's an estimate. So that was during his government. That was when we went to. He said you can do court affidavit
Yes, yes.
as your date of birth. That is the major problem in Nigeria.
Mm.
If you go and because this immigration now, they can collect court affidavit from you and say, okay, you can say that, okay. I don't know how you are now. You can say you are 15. Because court will say, you are 15, you are 15.
If I shave my beard, I can still play under 17.
Yeah. You say you are 15, you are 15. So I think it has to do with leadership. And secondly, too, is that we also have a porous database system. How can somebody have like four passports and say that is which one do you want? Imagine which one do you want? Do you want the one of this? Do you want the one of this? Do you want the one of this?
Mm.
And before I go to the solution, I had this personal experience too. A boy, contacted me and said that, I've played before in the MPFL. This is my picture. Okay. I went to Egypt. I went to Korea. But now I want to start again.
Mm.
I say, when you play in the FFA, I say, I don't finish university then before I play the FFA. Okay. And you want to play how many years? Korea, how many years? Now, you are now 18 years of age again. After maybe probably up to like 35 years.
Hmm.
Where do you want to start again? Say that is just born again. It's born again. All things are passed away. So but the issue, the solution for me is this. I think that we need to get our grassroots back.
Hmm.
For
Really?
example, now there used to be Chinese Kids Cup, but I think they don't kill them. If you see these players play Chinese Kids Cup, take their age down, have them in your database. If these players are playing under 15, write them down, have them in the database, so that at the end of the day, we can trace their age. See, IoT, they should not bring out Nigeria under 17 list now, and you cannot recognize any name there. It should be names that you are familiar with. That this boy play under 15. I know this boy. I know this boy. I know this boy. I know this boy. But they will bring a completely new player. How many players can you identify in the under 20? 18 years old, though? No database, nothing. So we need to register them. The moment they enter our system, we need to be able to what? Register them. And okay, oh, this is the age. So that when they come back in the future, they will not say that they are not the person again. I know of a player. I don't know this player. And IoT is a very good friend of yours too. It's very four names. It's very four names. They now say, okay, oh, I just will know the person, the player. The one of his name is Daddy. Everything all together. Eh? Four names like this. This not the player that played this place. Oh, now that was a different name. Okay, they now say, okay, everything all together. We should not be having that system. We should be able to take note of these players so that when they come back, we know exactly this is their age. My solution is what? Database. Not, don't make it too porous. Register them early. Let them know that this is their age, oh, they cannot come back. I spoke to Amobi about this, that all these people are born again. Oh. PNL before, with a different age, when I'm playing PFL. Say, they have this database from FIFA. Nobody can change it. Yeah. 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 So, for me, I think that the moment you play in NNO, the NFF should take your passport and register you so that you will not come back 10 years later. I said that that was when I don't know. You know, you must know. You must know. You must know.
Hmm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Like, I think we have to round up here. We can keep going, but I don't want this to run for too long. Maybe this is a concern that we can pick up another day. But I'm glad that we've been able to discuss certain issues and we've been able to discuss certain solutions as well. So at this juncture, I'll say thank you to Smitlai, thank you to Mr. Adidotun, thank you to Humble Henry. It was nice to hear from you guys. I appreciate you guys' contribution, on today's program. And to everyone that has been listening and watching us, thank you very much as well. But before we go, let me take the contribution of Jaguar who's waiting. And I want to take his contribution because I know that he is a football player in the Nigerian system. So I want to hear his own unique perspective on all the things that we've discussed, and hear what solutions he thinks can be brought up, as someone that is living in that system and has experienced the system. So yes, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, quick one. Like I said earlier, concerning the academy system in Nigeria, the way it's being run. For me, I believe that the Nigerian Football Federation can really do better about the academy if there is a proper framework, like a structure for the academies to run. And when I say structure, like for example, the Nigeria Football Federation, the Nigeria football itself, there's a particular style or identity of how our national team plays. So With that, the federation can develop a framework of like the training schedule or how they want the academies to run and how they want them to, be effective. So to say that in the long run, these players can play for their age grade teams. They are 17 or 20, and they'll be easily fit in into any level till the national team level. So that's what I think. And one of the things I think would really help if there's a like one of the speakers mentioned, Smith mentioned that I think the transfer matching system, if there's something like that, I think
Mm, yeah.
one of the coaches I played under then, mentioned something like that and was trying to develop something like that because I believe this Nigeria is a very big country and we have a lot of experts, even just like the ones you have on your show. They've always mentioned or profiled solutions to how we can move our football forward. But I don't know. I can't really speak for those at the NFF why they are not really implementing these things. So if that can be done early enough, and we have programs. Let's say, for example, in Lagos, we used to have the GT Bank Masters Cup, GT Bank Principals Cup. So the schools from the school system, we have these young players playing, studying in school before they write their WAEC, and they also play this competition. So they are being integrated gradually. And if, like I said, a proper framework is set up, let's say for coaches, there's a particular level of coach they want, like you mentioned, CAF C. I think even now, I think it's until recently, I think the NFF started, approving more coaches to go for CAF C programs. I think they altered it for a while until they were calls from several areas. So if we have something like that, there are levels of coaches that should be involved, and there are criteria they should meet, and they should replicate that across the country, not just in a particular area. I think that would really help the academic system. Yes, similarly mentioned that even these clubs don't have that, financial capacity to run these things. You understand? So there might be private owners, but there has to be a framework of how they operate across all the whole level. If that is done, that would really help. So you find a player, who has played at a particular level. For example, let's say under 15, and will now come later and they will say he's under 13. There won't be anything like that. So it should be on record. I understand there's a part of greed, there's a part of that corruption in the system where, you know, all this data, there's always a back end. I mean,
Mhm.
people who monitor these things ahead, but we have to really have people who are passionate, who will stick for the right thing to be done. That's
Mm.
how we can really move forward in this football. Because for me, as a player, even as someone who's interested in sports development in Nigeria, I believe the economy of football in Nigeria is so wide that we're not even really tapping into it. See, we are talking about oil, we're talking about agriculture. If you talk about how much that can be made in football in Nigeria, if the government or private individuals can wake up, just like Remo Stars, 15 years ago was when the club started. It took them 15 years to win the Premier League. And do you know how much have gone into investments before they can now, that money they even make now from the league sef is not something that would really match what they've spent. But you can see there's a progress and they are very professional about them there. So that's what really translated for them. So across beyond limits, even to the ladies, they play in the NWFL. So you can see it. So let there be a proper framework, you know, let it be monitored, let it be checked. And the TMS thing is really, really very important. So if
Mm.
that is done, it will really help. And like the Nigerian football should have an idea.
I think his network has caught up with him
Mhm.
mid
He's communicating well.
mid speech. Yeah, it looks like his network. We'll see if we can get him back.
Yeah.
But what he's saying, I wanted to hear from him because again, it's easy for us to talk, but somebody that has been there, that is within the system, that has played NLO, that has played, he has first hand experience about these issues and can probably prefer solutions and explain to us how things are done better. It's be like about what you were talking about, even just the age falsification. I've said this before. Like, there's a player that I did an interview with, maybe in 2019, and then in 2022, the player wrote to me and said, "Boss, I beg that interview where we do anywhere where you don't post them, I beg me take them down." I said, what happened now? Everybody said, bro, I won't go sign with club, and I did change my age. So the age where I talk that time, no be my age again. So the guy came and told me that, boss, please let me take down the interview anywhere, YouTube, anywhere with the interview day, just please let me take him down. And I told him, okay, no problem. I took down the video, but
Mm-hmm.
it just shows like these are the things that happen, because the player at that point, he wanted to restart, start again as an 18-year-old and
Mm-hmm.
have a chance. And I mean, it's rather unfortunate the way these things happen. I think we
Mm-hmm.
definitely need better regulation, but definitely need a database to monitor these things. If a player has registered, and it's not even just, if all the academies are regulated better, the players in the academy even are in the database.
Mm-hmm.
So you've registered in 2025, you are in this academy, you are 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot come and tell us in 2035 that you are 19.
Mm-hmm.
We would know you that, were you not 13 in 10 years ago? How is it that you've only grown 6 years in 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
So these things will be better for monitoring players.
Mm-hmm.
We have a long way to go in Nigerian football, but I hope that, the prayer is that every single day, every single year, we can be taking the right steps towards going in the right direction. We want to see more youth players develop into stars. We want to see more Ehenachos, more Chukwuezes, more Awonis, more Osimes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we want to see these stars.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that from 2019 is only a handful of them that are actually even playing professional football at any real level, not to talk about the ones that are making it, you know, it's a bit embarrassing. We
Mm-hmm.
have the last years, or the last set of under 20 as well. Many of them are still trying to find their feet. Many of them are back in the MPFL, things like that. Some of them are without club. And I understand that, not everybody gets to gets to make it. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you look at those that came from like the Chelsea academies, there are some that never made it. There are some that are playing non-league right now. Even the ones that were hyped up back then are playing non-league, are playing League Two, things like that. It happens. Football is a game like that. With the wrong decision, the wrong injury, the wrong
Yeah.
coach, many things can happen. But it should not be the norm. It should not be majority. It should
Mm-hmm.
be, some here and there that fall through the cracks, some
Mm-hmm.
here and there that we don't necessarily expect, that just don't do well. It should not be what's happening with most people. This has been a very loaded conversation today. So I think let's leave it here for everybody to be able to soak it in, for everybody to be able to take it in. I wanted to ask Jaguar a question, but it doesn't seem like we're able to get him back. But
Mm-hmm.
Smidlai, I'll leave you with this question again before we go. And I ask this question to everyone that's watching us as well. With
Mm-hmm.
all the conversation that we've had this evening, football agents, do they do more good or more bad for our youth football in Nigeria? What do you say, Smidlai?
They do more bad. Just for how useful one Nigeria. Unlike 2 days, I think if you see agents doing very well for our youth team, it's an anomaly. You know, it's majority of them are just bad. They just want to milk the system. They just want to destroy the system. They make a very wrong, a very confused system, and they want us to milk it. See, let me tell you something. That open campaign, some agents they don't want it to stop
Mm.
because the system is not working. They want it to continue because that's where they're making their money. So for me, I think they do more bad. So if you can prove me wrong by citing few examples of agents that have helped a player, but for me, in the national team, I think most of them are just there.
Hmm.
Even one of some of our coaches too are agents. Even Gillespie is an agent. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. Thank you very much,
So
Smidlai.
I will say something.
Okay.
Africa Jaguar said something about NFF just trying to do CAF. They used to do it before because everybody were pass. They pass everybody in the previous one, so they have to cancel it because how can you do everybody pass? So the fourth, they're now bringing it back now to Nigeria. It used to be in Ghana before because everybody were passing the exam in Nigeria. How can you be doing and nobody is passing the exam? So that everybody is brilliant. No, 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 no. So, but I think the FF is doing the right thing now. They're bringing it back. I hope that it won't be 100% pass again, though. So that is it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like I can see some people, somebody said bad or somebody said, except you're lucky to be within this agent, you're likely going to be with a very greedy Nigerian agents. Agents do more bad. And
Mhm.
somebody else here is saying they do more good. At least some of them do well. The ones that are bad, it is because we have a bad system. Our
Yeah.
system permits them to be bad. So still split opinions. Some people will definitely believe that they do more good. Some people believe that they do more bad. But for anybody that's watching this, I hope that you are able to take it in and you are
Mhm.
able to come to your own conclusion. um it's a wrap for today, guys. Thank you very much. I hope that you guys enjoyed tonight's program, another episode of Wahala Day, where we debate some of the most controversial, most trending, hottest topics in all of Nigerian football. And we'll be back again next week with a different topic. If you want to join the show, if you want us to debate a particular topic, please always engage with us in the comments, and please do not forget to hit the like button so that we can reach more people, so that we can grow as a channel and a way to support. And if you want to support us financially to help us create more content, help us pay staff, and just support the work that we do, please, please, please always feel free and feel encouraged to leave us a super chat or a super thanks. Once again, I say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Adidotun. Thank you, Smith Lai. Thank you, Hobulary. And thank you, African Jaguar. Your contributions have been very, 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 very much appreciated. As always, my name is IoT, and this is Eagles Tracker, the home of Nigerian football. I'll see you in the next one, and good luck to all Manchester United fans and all Tottenham fans ahead of the Europa League final. Bye bye, guys.